This is Dan Jurgens, and if you want to have a good time, keep listening to the Krypton Report.
Jason J. Lewis, the voice of Superman on Justice League Action, and you're listening to the Krypton.
Special Krypton Report podcast episode. It is I, Tyler, your Superman of Blue, but I have a special guest.
Selah Patrick!
My amazing daughter, Selah Rose Patrick, the awesome. Where did we go, Selah?
We went to a Comic-Con in Cincinnati.
We went to Cincinnati Comic-Con, or Cincinnati Comic Expo, technically is what it's called.
Oh, do you have your press pass?
Yeah, it's hanging up there. They'll see pictures.
I'll grab it. I'll go grab it.
Okay.
I'll grab it.
But we had an awesome time. Got to meet some people. We're going to tell you guys about it.
First tell them about the shop.
Oh, I'm going to tell them how it started. So Selah and I left. We got gas. We got a drink to start our day. And then as we're driving, a deer jumped out. About an 8-point buck. I'm not a deer hunter. No, it was the way there in the morning, and that sucker, it was big, and it like ran next to us. Then I swerved, and it ran behind us, and I was like, "Wow, this is a crazy way to start our day."
Yeah.
But we really enjoy Cincinnati Expo. It's my favorite con to go to every year, and this year really encompassed what we've talked about on the podcast, which is the year of Superman. It really was every celebrity there, but 3 were Superman. The 3 that weren't was Ray Chase, a voice actor.
The new one. David.
No, hold on.
David.
Yeah, he wasn't there, but I'm saying like the actors that were there, only 3 of them weren't. John Rhys Davies and Karen Allen were the only celebrity actors that were there that were not Superman related.
Supergirl.
She's Superman related.
Yeah, you didn't count her.
Yeah, I did.
The one that we wanted, that you wanted to see?
The ones that were not Superman related.
Oh.
Everyone else had some connection to Superman.
Oh.
So it really was. But when we got there, we got our cool press passes for the podcast.
We both had Lois. And I saw volunteers had... Need more out. Volunteers had Zod, right? Volunteers.
They had Bizarro.
Guest had Supergirl and Gary.
Yeah, Gary.
I saw Gary.
Number 4.
I saw that one on the Lois, Smallville Lois.
Okay.
Well, not on her, but like on the...
Right.
So, yeah.
So when we got there, we parked and everything. And parking was... So the past 2 years, they've had it at the Sharonville Convention Center instead of the Cincinnati, because the Cincinnati Center's being renovated.
We saw somebody as Ghostface, like a weird-looking, powerful Ghostface.
It was like Punisher meets Ghostface cosplay.
Yeah. And then there was Spider-Punk, and then there was also a Spider-Man that was half Spider-Man, half Captain America. And your girl dressed up as Peacemaker.
Selah was dressed up as Peacemaker.
That's my Halloween costume, so.
And let's see, we saw a really awesome Hawk Girl cosplay.
Oh, we saw a good Red Hood.
We did see a good Red Hood.
The same night we tricked or treat and we saw an even cooler Red Hood.
Well, so we started our day. We got there trying to find a place to park. And when we first got in, the first person we got to talk to was Rags Morales, who very prolific DC artist. He talked to Selah a little bit about drawing and gave me a cool thing to look into about her wanting.
Is it in
how to
New
draw.
Jersey?
Yeah.
I thought you said New Jersey.
The Kubert School in New Jersey.
Yeah, but I've heard that's very far.
Yeah, but he said there's a correspondence where you go like online or through the mail or something. So I'm looking into it. And Rags, of course, drew Action Comics with Grant Morrison for the New 52, which is one of the best parts of the New 52.
So also let me tell you guys something. We got to the next room after that, and we saw this really cool guy that had these fake-looking swords, guns. There was the same thing next to each other. But they were really cool. We saw a Wonder Woman sword. They were so cool. I saw one that was like had a box with it. I don't remember. It was like a katana.
We
kind
saw
of.
elven swords. We saw
I saw a really cool realistic gun that kind of looked like Peacemaker's, kind of.
So they were all made out of foam, which is nice.
Yeah,
So,
not like totally foam. It was like hard. It was like foam, and then they put like hard nail polish on it or something. But yeah, Dad, you want to keep talking? What else what else did we see, Dad?
So the next thing, we finally were walking around everything.
Real quick. So in the parking lot, we also saw Velma Dinkley. So that was cool. And then right behind us, when we were walking in, was a Daphne blank right behind me.
Yeah, you were super.
That one was pretty cool, and we had pretty fun. Keep talking about the shops, Dada.
So as we were trying to navigate through, it was just laid out really weird because it was like the convention center is too small for that con, and the only thing they changed really was they didn't have any fan panels. So every year I've done a panel at Cincinnati Con for the past 3 years, and we submitted this year and we didn't get to because they didn't do any fan panels. The only panels they did were for the actual celebrity guests doing their own thing. So it kind of stunk. But when we got in, we finally found the room with all the celebrity.
Which I was like, where's the celebrities? Where's the celebrities? Where's the celebrities?
And the first one we were able to talk to was
some people from the old one you've met.
The first one we were in line, but we saw our friends Morgan and her husband Adam Seibert, the owners of the Superman Museum for Metropolis.
Yeah.
And they were talking with Gerard Christopher. So we went over and we got to talk with Gerard Christopher. So we met Superboy Gerard Christopher.
Awesome.
And he was cool to chat with, and I feel bad because you can definitely tell he's very passionate about the show. But you can tell he's kind of hurt and frustrated because the show doesn't get the love or even attention that it deserves. And I think the big part is it's not streaming anywhere. I've often said, like, I miss DC Universe because DC Universe was streaming Superboy, was streaming The Adventures of Superman. And when they converted over to HBO Max, they did not bring over Superboy. It was on Tubi for a little bit, and it's not streaming anywhere.
Really?
Yeah. We bought it, and I told Gerard as we were talking about how James and I had just finished reviewing season 3, and we were getting ready to start season 4, and how we were enjoying the show and enjoying how it transforms, and just really letting him know, like, we appreciate what that was.
The next person you guys are gonna like, but keep talking, Dad. Keep talking, Dad.
So it just really was kind of a negative, the fact that he just didn't get the recognition I think he deserves because he did play, the character, and it's not available, and it kind of stunk. Like, he's not able to, like, sell any merch or anything. Like, there was no, like, hey, buy your copies here or anything. Because that'd be kind of cool if there was some sort of vendors. Like, we saw vendors, but, like, selling some of that. So we got to see Gerard. Then I got to talk to Mark Pillow. Mark Pillow played in Superman 4 as the Nuclear Man. And I just told him, like, look, I love Superman 4. I think it's better than Superman 3. I enjoyed it as a kid, rewatching it. And while I was talking to him, the volunteer at his booth was Jay Towers. Jay Towers has his own Superman podcast, Cape Wonder. And so that was cool to talk with him and just, let him know that he's appreciated for his work and that it's an underrated villain that doesn't get the credit it deserves. He was a really friendly, really nice guy. And Selah's just kind of looking like, who's this, Daddy? And I'm telling her along the way because we're making the most of our time. And None of the lines were super long, which was nice.
The longest one was definitely Tyler.
Yeah, it was.
Because
his
I bet he was probably the famous one there too.
his Tom Welling.
Who was
Erica
Tom Welling?
Durant's, from Smallville. Now,
Lois Wayne from.
then after Mark, we met and talked with Elizabeth Tulloch, right? No, first we met, because we did it twice. We talked to Michaela Hoover, who recently played Cat Grant in the new Superman movie. So Selah was really excited to meet her, having, Selah watch the Superman movie, the new Superman movie.
That's like the one I really knew.
Exactly.
She was the only one that was representing, so shout out to her.
Shout out to her. And Selah brought, you want to show them what you brought?
First talk about the first thing that she really said about my name.
Oh, she really loves Selah's name. She thought it was a beautiful name. We told her that, we really liked the Daily Planet stuff, and she said she'd have to tell James Gunn that they need more, and, maybe drop some hints that she'll be in the new movie. We'll see.
Hopefully.
And then Selah, she brought...
My
So Selah brought this with her. What happened? We left Michaela's booth. We went and did something else. We came back, and Selah asked for this, and I got this for her special. You want to show them, Selah?
So, it wasn't... She gave me a hug after she did this, but...
Selah got her shirt signed by Cat Grant.
It actually is the new Superman movie T-shirt.
Yeah, and that was the thing, was she was the only one there from the new film, and so I told Selah what she's gonna have to do is we're gonna now retire that shirt to be worn and keep it somewhere safe.
Give me a new one, please.
I will. And what we'll do is we'll go to cons and get members of the cast to sign that.
I'm telling you, there should be, for the new Superman movie, hopefully somebody from the new Superman movie that's going to GalaxyCon. Because if not, I might actually ask Solomon to take this with him to the one that you guys are going in November.
Motor City?
Yeah, just...
I don't think there's anyone there. And I think that's because they're getting ready to start filming Man of Tomorrow.
But I'm hoping that GalaxyCon at least has one of the new Superman movie.
I agree. So we got.
If they don't, I'm gonna be so mad.
So we got to talk with Michaela.
She gave me a hug afterwards.
She was really friendly and kind and cold. Like she was like rubbing her hands.
Yeah.
She was cold.
She asked you for like an elbow fist bump.
And she is a very small. I mean, I knew she was small, but like she is a super thin, petite lady. And our next person we spoke with was Elizabeth Tulloch, who played Lois Lane in Superman Lois. She is also a very small, thin lady. They could have a thin off, and it's almost scary. Like, I just, it's nervous when you see people who are that small.
Whoa.
So I'm just saying, like, I was a little concerned that, but that's just me because. But we got to meet Elizabeth Tulloch, and the only negative thing I say, and this isn't her, this was her handler volunteer, when she was like, "What are you guys getting?" And I said, "I just wanted to say hi." She was like, "We'll make it fast." And I don't like that when they're like, "Oh, you can only say hi to people if you're paying for something." I mean, I think it's a real negative.
Like you already paid for to go in.
Yeah, it's
you already paid. Like I bet wasn't the press passes what's different about the press passes against the tickets?
The press pass we get in for free.
You get them for free?
Yeah, we technically get in earlier too, but we just didn't make it in time to get in early.
No, because I really wanted to make girdle for McDonald's, and we had to use the bathroom.
We had to stop a couple times, and then it was just it was a rough morning, to get going.
But the press passes were really cool.
But when we were talking to Elizabeth, I was able to tell her like how important the storyline in Superman and Lois about the miscarriage was, and how having survived my wife and I through 4, that being brought to the forefront of a Superman story meant a lot to us. And and she told me that it was her idea to make it a late term miscarriage because it was better representation of what a lot of people go through and how much that's harder than early term miscarriages. And I told her, I was like, I appreciate that because I feel that people don't understand sometimes what dealing with those type of miscarriages are like. So it was really good to talk to her, and then we went and we spoke with. I'm trying to remember the order.
Me too.
We met Tim Daly,
Yep.
the
Yep.
voice of Superman from the animated series. It was really great.
And Justice.
That was George.
We met George right after we
So
met him.
We met George Newbern right after. Both really nice guys.
But I want to do it. There was a slight problem. There was what was his last name? George who? Newbern. George Newbern had the picture that was the animated for Tim Daly.
Yeah, so I'm looking at all the pictures they have out to sign. I look at the handler, who's a volunteer. Okay, and I said, technically, I'm like, that's not his Superman. That's him. And I point to Tim, and the guy just kind of laughs. He goes, I didn't put these out, man. I'm just, a volunteer. And I'm like, I got you. I'm like, I totally got you. I was like, I think it's kind of funny that, they didn't get these right. He chuckled. And it was kind of funny. And one of my favorite parts of the whole convention, I told Selah, was we're in line to talk to George, and he's talking to another fan, and he sees Selah dressed as Peacemaker, and he stops. He goes, great costume, and smiles at her, and then he goes back to talking.
I remember that.
And then we get up there, and we talk to her, and I tell, Selah, like, she's played the Injustice games, and she's watched Justice League with me, so she knows George from those. And, a few years back, almost 5 years now, I think, actually, it was like, I think 4 years, I got to interview George.
I think it was 4. Because I remember it was in this room. It was in this room, and we came 5 years ago, so I think it's 4.
He's my favorite Superman voice actor just because the lines that he gets to deliver, and just reiterating to him his take with for the man who has everything and how strong that is.
Okay,
Powerful.
I have a question then.
Yes.
If you had to pick somebody out of these 3 options, who would it be? Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Dave Cornsweet.
Okay.
The Superboy. The first one we got to meet? Yeah. And George.
Am I talking about my favorite Superman out of them?
Yeah.
Maybe,
And Tim.
Maybe just George.
George?
Yeah.
Then what if I threw in Tyler?
Oh, then it's Tyler. So we got to meet, I think the 2 pillars of animation Superman. I mean, there's been other voice actors who have done Superman.
I feel like we only got to meet Superman in one Lowe's and then Cat Grant, and I feel like the rest were the Superman people.
They were. We got to meet. So the next people we talked to as we walked around, got to talk to, say hi to Sarah Douglas, who I interviewed a couple years ago too on the podcast, who played Ursa. Real quickly because we had to go.
Who?
It was when I was standing there because I talked to her.
No, we didn't. We didn't.
I literally just said hi to her and waved to her.
Because what we did is that we were in line and we had a couple minutes before we had to go back downstairs. So I'm like, Dad, how about we just head back down? Then he just waved and said hi, and we just had to really go downstairs. So it wasn't like you just face to her. But
right. I got to talk to Jack O'Halloran.
Who's that?
While we were waiting to talk to Sarah, who played Non, and he asked me what was great. He said, I told him about how my story about how I for the longest time I didn't know what was Superman 1 and 2 because my TV copy, and he laughed about that. And then he asked me if I'd ever seen the Richard Donner cut, and I said, yeah, of course I've seen it. He's like, you can definitely tell that he prefers the Donner cut, the Donner vision. And he said, I wish Chris had looked at them and said, no me without Donner. And I was like, that's powerful. And then he's like, how do you cut Brando out of a movie? I'm like, it's true. It's true.
So after that, we went downstairs to take a photo.
Yeah, we saw an awesome hot girl.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
I mean, she looked straight out of the movie.
Yeah, she did. And
We wanted to go.
Oh, I saw Guy Gardner.
Did you?
Yeah.
We wanted to go get in Tyler Hoechlin's line and actually get to talk to him a little bit more.
But his line was really, really, really long.
But we got our photo done with him, got to talk to him for a moment, briefly, and he was really nice. And I got to thank him for his portrayal.
And then I gave him Dad's Krypton report card.
Yeah, Selah gives him one of our Krypton report cards.
Here you go. I think he's gonna check your channel out.
But
hopefully he sees this video.
So what's really awesome, Selah, I haven't told you this, is as of today, I just got an email that Tyler Hoechlin's coming to GalaxyCon.
Well, GalaxyCon's gonna be the best con I'm ever gonna go to.
So
we're mostly going there for Ben Shorts because Solomon really wants
to see Ben Shorts, and I'm doing a panel. So
you are?
Yeah. So that was Selah and I's trip. It was a quick trip.
No, it wasn't. It was actually a fun trip.
It was a fun trip, and it was a good time for her and I to go and spend some time together.
I forget what my lunch was.
We had McDonald's.
Oh yeah.
It was right around the corner.
And also breakfast, we had McDonald's.
You had a McGriddle, and then there was the McDonald's right around the convention center.
Yeah. We couldn't park. You want to tell them about parking?
So the convention center had its own parking, which was free, which was nice.
It was really
nice. But then
nice.
there was another place next to it that you didn't really realize you crossed into their lot. But they were doing a tournament. But then just a street over was a high school. And that's where we parked. That's where everyone else was parking, was at the high school. So that kind of made it nice because then we were able to actually park. So.
But then, first before we parked at the high school, because it was completely empty. First, before we parked at the high school, something strange happened.
What?
We were parking at the same, but we passed a line, I guess, and it was by the same building, but a different part of the building. And we were listening to these other people talk to the other people, and Dad told me to and these people were actually talking about that if you don't move your car to somewhere else in that parking lot, you could get towed.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they also announced it on the microphone. Thank God they did that. But we parked in the high school because it was completely empty. There was a couple people parked there, but it was complete empty. And we're we might as well just park here because it's a Saturday. No one's gonna be there. So we parked there. But yeah.
Yeah. So that was our time at the con. Thanks for checking it out. Keep rocking your love for Superman this year, and we've got more stuff coming up.
Yep.
All right, quick crap. Solomon and Tyler in the car talking. We still got 2 years to go. We're talking the Batman 2 things that we want. We're just gonna bullet point it. One,
let's do this.
We want Hugo Strange to be the head of Arkham, and we want a scene where the Batman's in Arkham. He meets Hugo Strange, but also meets Jonathan Crane on loan from Gotham University and Harleen Quinzel, intern at Arkham Asylum. We want the opening fight to be the Red Hood gang, and Batman takes down just the Red Hood gang. We can tie that to the Joker who's in Arkham, but we want to see the whole Red Hood gang. We also want to see the Court of Owls is manipulating stuff, and that Hugo Strange works for the Court of Owls. So I don't know what else we want.
I would like to see. So I want Batman to walk through the Arkham Asylum to go meet Hugo Strange, and I think on his way, we see some lesser known villains like Victor Zsasz, Copperhead.
Ooh, yeah. Just ones that we know that he's already kind of tussled with.
I think it will be interesting if we see someone in a cell have a teddy bear in their hand, throw a teddy bear on the ground. Hint, hint, at pinpoint.
Maybe some
Bane?
weird villains too that we don't think of, like Flamingo.
Polka Dot Man. Catman.
But something big that I want in the Batman 2 is Robin, because that helps set up what I want from the Batman 3, which is Batman and Robin as a fighting team going through Arkham in an Arkham outbreak and stopping it.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Krypton Report podcast. I am your host, Tyler, and with me is a special guest tonight. This man is what's the word we're thinking of? No stranger to Superman and super fandom. It's my honor to have tonight and speak to one of those people that you kind of like talk in the same circles and you've talked a little bit, but never like this. But welcome, Superman homepage, Mr. Steve. I'll let you pronounce the last name because I don't want to butcher it.
It's Steve Younis.
I thought so. My wife has a unique name, and I always like let people say it, then repeat it back how they say it instead of just kind of guessing.
Hey, Tyler, thanks for having me on. It's a real pleasure. I really appreciate chatting with you tonight or today, depending on what time it is, wherever you are.
I always love like talking with, it's funny. I have multiple, friends that I've met through podcasting who are Australian. And it's always funny because I'm like, man, it's like the one place is the most difficult just because of the time. It's like either one of us is really tired or one of us is, really tired from being awake or just waking up. So
yeah, it's either too early or too late.
But Steve wanted to come on today and talk. He has got some cool news to share about a little thing that he did. But before we get that started, Steve, just a couple quick questions.
Yeah.
And there's really no wrong answer. Who do you think is your favorite Superman?
This is always an interesting question because for many people, it will be one of the live action actors like Christopher Reeve or Henry Cavill or even now David Corenswet or Brandon Routh or many of the others. But for me, it's actually a voice actor in Bud Collyer, who did the 1940s radio series and then obviously went on to do the Fleischer cartoons and then the 1966 The New Adventures of Superman animated series. He just, for me, he set the tone for every actor who came after him who didn't know how to portray or wouldn't know how to portray the two, different dynamics of Clark Kent versus Superman. Bud Collyer set that tone of having, the lower register for Superman and the higher pitched voice for Clark Kent and differentiated between the two. And that kind of set the tone for everybody else.
Which I think is vastly underappreciated.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just Bud, the radio show in general, and of what their contribution to the Superman mythos is much, much larger than people realize.
100%. I mean, you think about Jimmy Olsen, Perry White, they were all created for the radio series. And
Kryptonite, Flight.
Kryptonite. Yeah, all that kind of stuff it originated on the radio series. And things like Up and Away. It's Superman, but it was created for the radio series because of the fact that they needed to let people know that he was taking off because it was a non-visual medium.
It's awesome. I love that answer. And that's why I like asking the question is because you don't know. You just assume, this is what it's going to be. But you don't know how people are going to answer. You don't know what they're going to say. Do you remember?
Just quickly, when you think about the vast amount of material that is available from that radio series, for the whole of the 1940s, and sometimes it was daily, you're talking about a vast volume of Superman material where so much of what we know from other mediums came from, because they would, even for the TV series, they would adapt some of the storylines that were created on the radio series and then make them into the TV episodes.
It's true. And I wish, it's interesting. Like I've been reading a lot of the 90s comics
the triangle error, and it's like how much of that really feels like these comics could be like a TV series or something, like a cartoon, like back to like the anime cartoon. And the same with the radio is like, yeah, you'd have to tweak some of the stuff just because of the time, but the stories were pretty solid.
Yeah.
Do you remember the first piece of Superman, like media that introduced you to the character?
Yeah, well, it's kind of I think it's an interesting one because it was about the same time. So when I was about 9 or 10, my uncle took a bunch of us nieces and nephews to see Superman 2 at the cinema in the theaters, and then at the same time, I would, I'm showing my age here, but I would wake up on Saturday mornings to watch cartoons because cartoons weren't available 24/7 like they are today. It was usually Saturday mornings you would wake up on TV to watch cartoons, and that was when like the Super Friends or the New Adventures of Superman reruns. I wasn't born in the 50s, so it was 60s, I should say. Sorry, they were the things that my introduction into the world of superheroes and specifically Superman that resonated with me.
That's really cool. We all have different entry points, and some of us, have similar entrance points. But I think it is worth mentioning how there are varying points of entrance. Now, you operate this website that maybe some people have heard of. What's that website called? Superman?
Something
Superman
like along this. Yeah, something like that.
And I have been following that page for, I don't know how long.
Careful, you'll show your age too.
Yeah. I'm just thinking like, you used to have a podcast you guys would do and I'd listen to, and it's just the greatest like landing platform to just like, hey, I need some Superman knowledge or I need to touch base. Like just looking at it right now, celebrating 30 years of this page. Can you tell me how this page and how your involvement and everything got started?
Definitely. Well, it's an interesting story in and of itself. So it started in 1994, and it wasn't me who started the website. I mean, I've been running it for 28 years now, but it was started by a young gentleman who was very much into Superman, obviously, and started what was a home page, because that's pretty much what it was. You think of a home page of a website, it was just one page. And then there was also the lyrics to the REM Superman song was another page. But beyond that, that was all it was. And I was starting into, I was a graphic designer and was starting into web design and started looking around for things that I was interested on what was the World Wide Web back in those very early days of the mid to late 90s, and stumbled across this Superman home page and offered to assist with a few graphics and things. And the internet back then wasn't capable of doing much as far as graphics were concerned, because it was very slow. We're on dial-up modems, and everything had to be very very limited in how much for speed wise. And so I offered my assistance in doing that. And then over that 2-year period, we became fast friends, and I did a few bits and pieces here and there. And he told me at the time that he was suffering from a very rare genetic skin disease that predisposed him to cancer, and only had a few months to live. And so I was very shocked. Obviously, had no knowledge of that, and offered to take over what he had done and to continue it on, and thinking it would just be something I would touch base with maybe once a week or so. And then sadly he passed away in late 1996, and I took over the website, having transferred the files across to my computer. And then since 96 I've continued building, and it has become an all-encompassing hobby that has built almost into a career now at this point in time, because it has pretty much enveloped my whole life, and has become something that has become bigger than my wildest dreams. I never anticipated being this into it. All the doors that it opened up for me, and I've been to world premieres and after parties for movies, and have spoken to some of the greatest people involved in the world of Superman, and have made some of the greatest friends in my life because of the Superman homepage. So It has just become something that is very much a part of who I am and who I identify as.
That's awesome. I'm sitting here while you're talking, just kind of looking at the page, and a lot of times I pull it up on my phone. So getting to see it from the point of view of the web page, like from a desktop, it makes it even more just amazing to look at. And I recommend everyone check it out. If they haven't in a while, just go back and go through, because it is so detailed. Just there's so much in it. It's one of those, like, I'm curious about some Superman stuff. Where can I go? Superman homepage.
Yeah, well, it's definitely, our tagline is everything you ever wanted to know about the Man of Steel and more. So it's, in 30 years, we've obviously built up a large archive of material, from reviews and interviews and reports and all different things on all aspects of the character. We were very comic book heavy back in the early days when we were doing mostly comic book side of Superman. And then, as TV episode reviews and episode guides became part of what we built, and then the movies, and we just you touch on one thing and you just can't help but continue on and touch on every other aspect of the character. And with a character that's been around for nearly 90 years now, there isn't a corner of the world that he hasn't touched in regards to, magnets, comic books, posters, T-shirts. It's endless. I mean, he's even been on Broadway.
Yes, he has. I mean, excuse me. We here at my local theater, I'll send you the link. We did the Superman musical this summer.
Beautiful.
And it was, it was a big deal. It was something I wanted to direct, something, Superman that's official. And so we got to do that this year. And
amazing.
Yeah, it was. There were some challenges, but overall, I think we come out well. Community theater, sometimes it can be tricky. So
yeah, exactly. You got limited resources, but that's so great to hear.
So, Steve, when you visit the Superman homepage, there's something that's posted very large up front. Let's talk about that today.
Yeah,
your special and awesome news that you were telling me about. Well, let's get into it.
Sounds great. Well, as everybody knows, 2025 was definitely a big year for Superman with the release of James Gunn's Superman movie. And from 2022, when the announcements came about this new film, and obviously the demise of Henry Cavill's participation in the role of Superman, we've been following step by step everything that was happening with this movie, all the announcements, all the casting choices, all the production notes, all the merchandise and marketing, and all that material was part of what I had posted on the Superman homepage website. And I was like, there's a book here. We can collate all this information that we have been diligently reporting on since mid-2022. And there's so much material here. Why not put it together as a narrative and publish a book? And so that's what I've done. It's called Beyond the Cape, The Journey to James Gunn's Superman movie. And it pretty much just chronicles everything that happened along the way from, as I said, the chaos of 2022 when nobody knew what was going on. Black Adam had come out. Henry Cavill had announced himself as returning to the role of Superman. And then the rug got pulled out from underneath him. And then James Gunn, obviously announced that he was making a new Superman movie without Henry Cavill and was moving on to cast other actors. And then through all the different steps, and it was just, I've been running the Superman homepage for 28 years, and it's been online for 30, as we've said. But this is the busiest I've ever been reporting on anything Superman related. Through the dark days of the 90s when we had Superman Lives, Superman Flybys, all those different movies that never got off the ground, through Superman Returns, and then Man of Steel, Batman v Superman. Nothing has kept me as busy as reporting on James Gunn's Superman movie, because there was just so much that came out about and around this film.
Yeah. I mean, I So my daughter and I just got back this weekend from Cincinnati Comic Expo, and it was very Superman themed.
I envy you.
There were three actors that were there, two physical actors, one voice actor, who were not Superman related.
Wow.
And, I got to talk with Gerard Christopher, and he, one of the things that he stated was there was no internet back when Superboy was out, and being on syndication the way it was, there just wasn't, the word of mouth. And now there is, for these other shows. And I'm like, the worst part to all of it is that Superboy's not anywhere, for people to stream, to watch, to get. And with James Gunn's Superman, his social media, I mean, hype bigger than ever. So it makes the sharing of information so much more massive. And I'm sure you're going to have a busy time as we roll into Supergirl as well.
Yeah, I mean, and then you got Man of Tomorrow after that, and so it's just, it never ends. It truly is a never-ending battle when it comes to Superman, and it's just surprising. People say, when people know that I run a Superman fan site, they say, "Oh, like, what do you do? How do you fill in your time? How, what are you reporting on?" I'm going, "Are you serious? Like, it never ends. Once you get into it, there is just non-stop. It's daily. It's sometimes 24/7. It just becomes all-encompassing, and people just don't realize how vast the Superman network of material is, and the fandom out there. And as you said, with social media today and the internet, it's just ripe for so much interaction.
We had, I had it mapped out before, but just we'll just take the past 10 years. We'll just say since Man of Steel came out. We'll use Man of Steel as our starting point. If you look at, we had Man of Steel, which rolled into BVS. That's also right when they were really ramping up those direct-to-video movies. So we had that. Then you had, if we're just looking at the super side, then you have Supergirl show, which leads into then Superman appearing on Supergirl. And then you end up with Superman and Lois. And then, James Gunn's Superman. And those are just, the Superman projects. Not to mention you had The Flash, which featured Supergirl. And then you have now the new Supergirl film.
And don't forget, we've got My Adventures with Superman, the animated series in there as well.
That came out. And then, like I said, they were plugging those movies. So you had influx of Justice League and or Superman movies. So there was always something new that was coming out, and it was very, very busy.
Very busy. And then don't forget, we've got the comic book side of things, which are on a weekly basis. You got the books, and multiple books.
And then you have where it all started that continues is the comics. And are you up on your reading? Do you still read concurrent, or how do you read?
Yeah, I a couple of years ago went digital with my comic book reading because the boarding, boxing, bagging, all that kind of stuff of comic books became, it was a lot, and you got to find the space for it all. But I do read the Superman comic books digitally each week. I tend to these days buy them monthly. At the end of the month, I'll buy the month's worth of books that have come out for that month, all at the same time, and then just read them in bed when at night before I go to bed, and on my iPad, and thoroughly enjoy them still. And there are so many titles at the moment. You're not just Action Comics and Superman, but you've got Superman Unlimited, you've got Batman, Superman World's Finest, you've got what are some of the other ones? You've got the Justice League, obviously, books. You've got books like Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong, where Superman's involved.
That's my everywhere. Son right there. That is. He is so excited, and we were going to read it as it came out, and he was like, "No, I'm just waiting till it's done. We're going to sit and read it all."
Yeah, and that's definitely a way that a lot of people like to do it these days. Is once the story has been collected in a trade paperback form, or finished, then they want to read it all at once because there's so much of a binge culture at the moment.
Well, my problem, like with some of that, is you get these stories that start and then they 2 months, like Batman Echoes just finished up recently, and it was only 6 issues, and it took almost 2 years.
That I don't understand. I
And
mean, if you know, especially if it's a limited run, you know it's only going to be 6 issues. Wait for the artists or the writers to complete them all and then publish them on a monthly basis. Don't start with one or two and then the artist falls behind or whatever the issue might be, and then you've
right,
got people waiting months for the next issue to come. I don't understand that because people lose interest.
exactly. We joke back. You go back and you look at Doomsday Clock, which was supposed to be this big event book. And by the time they finished it, they had changed Superman's look and some story beats. And it just became almost this, is it continuity? Is it not? Elseworld. And it was supposed to be this huge deal. And
Yeah.
it took over 2 years to come
Yeah.
out. And I'm like,
It became
I
irrelevant.
I don't want to go through that with a lot of these stories. Like right now we have Hush 2.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I was so excited. I was like, I'm going to read this. But then I was like, you know what?
I'm just going to wait for it to be collected.
Yeah. So, hold on. Superman, is a character, been a big part of my life, big part of your life. And I think it means a lot to us as fans, just because, there are so many things in life that's superficial. And yeah, it's just a character, but there's a core value to the character that I think is what resonates. Like, I was saying, like, my daughter and I, we got our picture taken with Tyler Hoechlin, however you pronounce it.
Yep.
And, I told him, I said, you're my favorite version of the character. And I think that's going to stay for a long period of time because of his version as being a father.
Mm-hmm.
In the comics, when John Kent was born in the comics was 2015. That's the same year my son was born.
Nice.
And so it's like Superman became in the comics, the father, and then, Tyler's, and that goes back to like that resonance of that core that we all like to believe in the character. And I think that's why a lot of the themes of James Gunn's Superman resonated with people. Just being good and kindness in a world where we've become shallow or self-centered and definitely harder people. What are your just quick thoughts on James Gunn's Superman, the film? Like, were you happy with it? Is there things you wish had been a little different? What are
I
you
was I was definitely happy with it. It surprised me in a lot of ways. It took me a while, not a while, but I wasn't sure what to expect. And then I had to sit with it. I saw it a second time. First time I saw it at the Australian premiere with my wife, and then I took a couple of nights later, I took my mother to see it, and she loved it. And I had to sit with it for a while because I didn't know what to expect. But to me, it felt very much like sitting and watching a Superman cartoon from my childhood or a Superman comic book come to life. And on the back of what we saw with Zack Snyder's version of the character, that was quite jarring because it was a complete 360 from, that version of the character. This was not a cynical world. This was a very positive version of the character. And when I sat with it for a little bit, I was like, this is what we need. We need this message. We need Superman to be accessible to kids as well as adults. And I think that's what a lot of people found who are not fans of James Gunn's Superman film found difficult, was that this wasn't an adult film in many ways. There were things, obviously, as an adult, you can enjoy it, but this was also something that kids could go and see, where Man of Steel definitely was not a film that you would go take your 8-year-old son or daughter to see, because they're, crypto, all these kinds of things. I had somebody come up to me and say, I'm not sure about this new Superman movie. It was too fun. It's like that was a criticism. It's like, how can something being too fun be a bad thing? I mean, isn't that why we go to the movies? Isn't that what we want? We want escapism. We go to the movies and watch these things as an escape, to get away from the dark reality of life and the cynicism of this world. We want something to uplift us and make us feel good, which was why the Christopher Reeve films did so well and still resonate to this day, is that you came out of that film feeling uplifted. And same with James Gunn's Superman movie. You came away from the film feeling better about things. And don't get me wrong, I love Henry Cavill's Superman. I love Man of Steel. And I think it's definitely a different take on the character. But you don't come out of those films feeling uplifted like you did with the Christopher Reeve first film and even the second film, or as you did with David Corenswet's version of the character. I just think that's what's been missing with the character. And I don't understand why so many people find this new Superman film so confronting for them. I don't understand why they get so worked up about Superman being something that is uplifting. Isn't that what we want from the character?
I agree with you 100%. It's like, why are we upset? My only criticism really for the film is I think it's too short. Like, if there's any of the movies I think could have been longer, it's this one, because I would have liked a little bit more time with different character groups. A little bit more. And my only other nitpick, okay, because this is one, is I really would have liked to have seen the opening with the battle of him and against the Hammer of Baravia, or him stopping, that whole thing. Like,
yeah, I can understand that's a different take on, we're not used to being thrown into a movie at a point in the middle of a battle, or, it kind of, that was a little bit jarring, I guess, for a lot of people. But I appreciated it because we didn't have to sit through another origin story.
Oh, I'm okay with that. Like,
like
I was on board with that, because there's a lot of stuff you can do, like in flashbacks or just through the text itself. But I would have liked to have seen him, like, when the hammer shows up and that whole first fight leading to him being thrown down. So
well, I guess, I mean, as it was, a lot of people complain that Superman just got beaten up this whole film, and so, which is obviously not, well, I mean, it's an opinion, but what people forget is that they went to great pains to explain that Superman was underpowered for the rest of the movie because he didn't get fully charged, and that he had not lost a fight in the 3 years since he announced himself. So this was the first battle that he had lost. And that was the whole point of starting it at this point, is because we're showing what happens to a Superman who has been, totally dominant for the period that he's been with the world. But now we're showing him going through his greatest, challenge.
That was the part that that got me, was nobody was realizing that this was the first time he had ever lost a battle. And yeah, he's getting beat up, but he keeps getting back up and keeps overcoming it. He had never fought anyone at his power level yet. And that's what people weren't.
We have to remember that this hammer, which is obviously Ultraman, is an exact duplicate of him. So he's got the exact same powers, but he was at 100%. Plus, he's got the backing of Lex Luthor's genius and all those people who are guiding him through each fight, so that he's even more got more advantage over Superman. So it's just like, what more do you want?
Yeah, it's like, it goes back to that, in the comics, I always love when Wonder Woman taught Superman how to actually fight. Where there was, I can't remember what book it was in, but I think he had a blue kryptonite bracelet or something, so that he was training with Batman. Clark was, to actually learn how to fight, and then with power he was training with Wonder Woman. so the idea is don't just rely on that you're strong, actually having the knowledge
Yes.
and skill of a fighter and a warrior. But I really enjoyed the movie, and I think the thing that really got me was seeing how much my kids liked it and were excited by it. Not just because, daddy loves Superman, but like they genuinely liked and enjoyed the movie. We went to our local mom and pop's theater, and they're friends of ours, and we set up and we were promoting our play. And when we were only going for a couple of hours, when we were done, my friend came over who works there, and he's like, do you guys want to go watch the movie? And Solomon was like, yep. And he ran in there before I could even answer. And so I was like, well, I guess we're seeing it again. And I think it was just, and that made me happy because it wasn't like, oh, come on. Like, it was
you're not dragging them, they're dragging you.
And that was, that's the excitement like that I want for Superman is I want to see kids love the character. And I wish that my adventures had gotten more love in the sense of like, where's my merch? Where's the stuff that, because I feel like that's the show that kids would be going crazy for right now, because anime is so popular, and that show has that slight askew towards anime that I feel like if you're an anime fan, like you would kind of find it interesting, and it would be a good gateway into this world. And I just feel like that's the show.
I agree with you. I think it caught a lot of people by surprise how successful it was. And usually with merchandise, it's coming out at the same time as a release rather than after a release. And I think they kind of missed the boat there because they probably weren't aware of how popular it would be. I mean, you look at the James Gunn Superman film, we got action figures that were released for that movie that actually weren't even in the film, like the Abominable Snowman, the Yeti. It wasn't, it was supposed to be a scene that was in the script or whatever, and then made it to action figure, but never actually was never actually filmed. So it's like, well, they obviously had a plan in place for merchandise well before the film had even been released. So they should have done the same thing with My Adventures with Superman, but I don't think they realized the hit that they had on their hands.
Right. And I mean, let's just talk about people right now. Like, I'm just throwing this out there. Netflix put out so much merch for other projects. They were not ready for K-pop Demon Hunters.
No, they were
like
not.
How crazy. I mean, they would basically be printing money this Christmas if they had the merch and everything in stores. And now they're rushing behind it, trying to get stuff out early next year. When will it do well? Well, it won't. They need to figure something out because
think of how big that thing would have been if they had a different title too, because I saw that and I thought, what is this? And then it's number one. It's like, oh, I've got to watch it, see what it's all about. And it's like, okay, I did not expect that at all.
Right. We had a friend of ours come over and babysit the kids, and she's like, I'm going to have them watch this movie. And I'm like, okay, I trust you, whatever. And then Selah, my daughter, was like, Dad, you have to watch this. I'm like, okay, that's cool. So I watched it with her, and then my wife came home and like, we're gonna have to watch this with your mom, and like, so it's just fun. But it's just like it's like sometimes they don't see the like you said, the hit that they have.
Yeah, exactly.
But what else is going on, Steve? Anything else you want to plug today while you're with us here?
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, Beyond the Cape is the book that's out at the moment, but I'm actually working on another book at the moment this Beyond the Cape was self-published. It was through Amazon, but I'm looking at doing another book on Superman that is going to be a bigger book, but hopefully at this stage I'm pushing it to some of the actual traditional publishing companies that's going to look at Superman. It's not necessarily a calendar book, but it is a journey through time with Superman, going from January, February through till December, looking at all the different dates, premiere dates, birthdays, anniversaries of deaths of all the different people who have been involved with the character, from Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster right through to James Gunn's Superman film, all the important people, the impact that they've had on the character, and looking at it from a calendar-based project or a perspective, where you look at the different themes, like, obviously January is the beginning of the year. And so, January, the chapter is all about new beginnings and some of the birthdays and things that have premieres or what have you that have happened in January, right through to things like, during the summer months, and how different things happen. And so almost like a thematic calendar, but looking at all the different dates and important premieres and announcements and things that have happened in the world of Superman. Even looking at some of the traditional birthdays, like, Superman being born on February 20th, or celebrating his birthday on February 29th. So in the February chapter, we talk all about that. And so, yeah, I mean, this is something that I've been working on for quite a while. I've been collating these dates for years. And again, it was like, well, here's this information that I've had and I've been collating. There's a book there as well. And so I'm working on that. And then there's another one I'm coming up with in the back of my mind, because once I start on something, the ideas just keep popping into my head. And so when I got onto the idea of writing a book about James Gunn's Superman movie, I started thinking about all the material that I've got on the website that would be rife for other book ideas. And so there's another one that I'm thinking about doing down the track in regards to super songs. So there are over 600 popular songs that have either used Superman or Clark Kent in the lyrics or in the title. And so I've collated them on the website. So there's definitely a book in there about how Superman has impacted popular music from the 1940s right through today, and all the different genres of musical styles that he has been a part of, from REM's song, as I mentioned earlier, right through to Five for Fighting's very popular song. And then you've got Kryptonite, Three Doors Down. You've got so many different songs that are about Superman or have mentioned Superman. And so I've got that one in the back of my mind, working on hopefully maybe to a 2026 release.
You know what's interesting? Did you know that Five for Fighting song was in Smallville? And in the background when it plays is the first time Kryptonite is said on Smallville before they even name it on Smallville.
There you go.
I caught that and I was like, wait a minute. But that book sounds awesome, because that's one of those books, like, when you publish it, we're definitely going to use it as a guide here on the podcast, because that would be just something like, hey, it's a new month. What are some high points of this month that, are Superman for this month? And it's like, boom, boom, boom. Okay, well, for more, check out, the book.
Yeah.
Because
I've actually got an actor who has been in 3 different Superman movies who is agreed to write a foreword for the book. So I'm said he was working on it this past weekend. So I'm hoping he's got something ready for me, because I've left it with him for about a month now to write that foreword for me. So we'll wait and see how that pans out.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, thank you, Steve, for being here. We appreciate it. Everyone, check out Steve's book. There'll be details in the links below. Keep on keeping on with all the great and wonderful Superman stuff. Steve, we appreciate it, and we look forward to talking to you in the future.
Thanks, Tyler. I really appreciate you having me on your show. Keep up the great work with Krypton Report. The podcast is awesome. I do listen, so well done. Just more power to you. And thank you so much once again for having me on. And make sure you do check out supermanhomepage.com.
Look up in the sky!
Thank you for checking out the Krypton Report. Please click our linked tree in the show notes to follow us on your favorite social media platform. We have a $1 Patreon, just $1 a month to keep us going. And in return, you get exclusive shows and specials. If you want to join us on an episode, send us an email or a message.
Hi, this is David Patrick Wilson. I played Superman, Clark Kent, in the television production of It's a Bird, It's a Plane, enjoying every minute of being right here on the Krypton Report.